So friends who have Ansible playbook idea, so roles are basically next level of abstraction of a Ansible playbook. To explain it in better way, let's say in your lab setup you got two servers and you go to very basic configuration. You are installing couple of packages, you are copying files, that's it. So playbook is sufficient. But in an enterprise setup where you got thousands of servers, they are performing different functions, or I can say different duties. Let's say some servers are acting as database servers, some are application server, some are some customized environment. So friends, to have a single playbook, that makes things difficult to manage if you're using Ansible. What are the benefits of using roles? So you can reuse the playbooks for different purposes. If you use roles, you can segregate the server functions or server functionalities in terms of roles. Let's say you got one common role. In common role, you got all the infrastructure stuff, like to configure your NTP server, to install or configure DNS client, to install backup software, whatsoever. So that's example only, friends. And you got one custom role which is for your web server. You got additional custom role which is for your database server configuration. So in that way, roles are very useful. Structure of roles. So when you create role, it got directory structure which got files that contains regular files. Those need to be copied to target servers. Handler are basically event handling. Event handling mean, let's say you got one task. Once that task is finished successfully, it will call that handler, or it will perform some action depending upon your configuration. Meta directory, that is basically role dependencies. So assume you got two roles, one is database server, one is application server. So you want database services to be started or configured first, then application server. So you can set dependencies inside Meta. Template. So friends, template is similar to files. Only thing, template contains files, but they contains dynamic data. When I say dynamic data, it means you can point to variables. So I will explain in technical session. Tasks are basically simple playbook tasks to install some package, to do some copy stuff, which we already discussed in playbook. Variable or group variable, that's friends variable definitions. So let me show or explain these things technically. Let me open one putty session. So friends, this is my Ansible control server, and this is the client 1, which is lab server 1. This is client 2, which is web server 1. Here I am inside Ansible configuration directory, which is etc Ansible. That may vary depending upon your setup, if you customized it or if you have configured it to some different path. Right now I'm using default. Here I have configured this web stack directory. I'm cding into this one. So friends, that this directory look like. And variables, which I said, let me show you how variable look like. Or first let me show you tree of this directory. So group variable, inside that I got one file called all, so that contains all variables. Then I got one file host, which have detail of my host, that's a license information. That's a main.yaml, which is my main playbook file. This is readme. And these are roles. In roles I got two roles, one is common, one is web. So friends, in common role I got infrastructure configuration, which is to configure NTP server and resolve.conf, which is DNS client, and this is the playbook to configure these tasks. As I said, these are files, ntp.conf and resolve.conf, and this is the main playbook which copies these files to target machines, which are Ansible clients. And this is the handler. Handler mean if one of the action is done, so perform this trigger to start service for example, and let me show you content of this one. Means all directories, and similar is a different role which is web, to configure web services. So to start with, I will show you host group variable file first, sorry, directory cat group variable, sorry, I'm copy pasting not works, and here it got one file all. In that I got two variable, one is DNS server which I got this value, one is variable is NTP server where I got this value. Okay, so that's variable definition, friends. Let's say in your setup you got three different DNS servers, for one separate for dev, one separate for pre-prod, one separate for prod. I'm just giving example. I know that's not a very good example, but again, and similar NTP, you got different NTPs for different environments. So you can have NTP server prod, NTP server dev, like this. So these are the group variables. So these variable values will be called when we are using these values in templates. As I said, this is the dynamic data. Okay, so let me show you next one, which is my role. I'm just going to cd roles common. I'm inside common role now. Inside this role, I got these tasks, which is my main playbook file. In this task, I got first task to configure DNS client. What it is doing, it is copying, it is using template module. Template module basically search what are the group variable values we have defined. Source is result.conf and destination is this one, etc result.conf on target. Then it is installing NTP, it is using yum module, install NTP, state present, and it got tag. I will explain what tag mean. So that's very useful feature to using tags. And it is copying NTP file. It again using template module. This is a source, this is the target, and this is the tag NTP. And it is notifying once this task successfully finishes, if any changes happen basically, then it trigger restart NTP service, and that's basically handler, means we are handling this event. Let me show you how we handle event. I am inside handler, and this is the main.yml. Each directory got its own main.yml file. And here, if you notice, this definition or this statement is matching restart NTP service, so it will call this particular handler, which is restart NTP service. This will restart or start the NTP service depending upon your configuration. So that's a handler, friends. Okay, now let me show you template, how templates differ from files. So let me give you example of this one, ntp.conf. If you see this particular line, I have not hard coded it to server, whatever the NTP server name. I have said NTP server in braces. So it is checking what is the NTP server value in group variables, and in group variables we got this value. As I said, in case you got NTP server for prod, NTP server prod, this value, NTP server dev, different value, you can call that value here. Here you have to change NTP server prod or NTP server dev. So what it means, friends, no need to rewrite multiple line of codes. You are just calling variables. So that's easy, and that's easily manageable. You know, like you are doing this stuff in common role, or whether you require that in any particular role instead of doing it on all servers. So that makes things easy. Okay, so that's common role definition, and I have explained what are handlers. Let me show you web role now. In web role, again I got handlers and tasks, but one thing different. In common role I got template, here I got file. So that's only to explain you what is the difference between files and templates. So let me show you file contents, because files contain static data which is not changing. You see, in this file I have not called any variable. These are the static values, so I have used files. That's the whole purpose, to explain now why we need template, why we need files. Again explaining, templates for dynamic data which is changing, files for static data which is not changing or persistent. Okay, so here in tasks, I got task to install Apache packages, and friends, here I'm using yum module name is equal to item. So that's again new thing for you. I believe I have not discussed this thing in my previous video. State present item mean with item. What are the benefit? If you see, I have used two packages, httpd tool, so it will install both packages. Otherwise, if I use like yum name is equal to httpd state present, I have to get separate entry for this package. So now with item I can define multiple packages, so in single task whole packages will get installed. So that's easy, that's efficient way of installing multiple packages. As next task, it is copying index.html file, which is static file as I explained some time back, and this is a destination, tags Apache, and it is notifying to restart Apache service. And let me show you handler, and this is the restart Apache service handler, which is restarting HTTP service, not restarting, basically starting, or you can use restart. So don't get confused. So that's up to you whether you want to restart or start. Okay, one thing friends, if you are using handler, this definition need to be 100% same. If you say restart here in name, and in name you put start or stop, so it is not going to work, because notifier search the name in the handler configuration. So these things need to be matching. Okay, so friends, that's a config. Now let me show you host file. I have to go out. Okay, let me show you host file now. Cat host. Okay, here all, which is group all, where I got both servers, both are my Ansible clients. In second group, which is web servers group, I got only one server, which I am going to configure as web server. So now let me show you my main YAML file, which is my main playbook. Here you have to pay attention, because that's the main thing, and it's very important to understand. In main YAML file, I included all servers, means this playbook can control all the servers. Next tasks, first task I got apply common configuration. Okay, here I have mentioned host role. This configuration needs to be applied on all servers. Use ncdm user become become root on other server, other mean the target Ansible client. Become method sudo using sudo. And task, in task I mentioned call roles common. So it will be calling common role, whatever definition of playbook inside common role, everything will get called, and that will be actioned. Okay, so this common role will be happening or getting actioned on all servers. Okay, now I got second task, which is to install and configure Apache hosts web servers. So whatever the servers part of web servers group, right now that's only one server, web server 1, that will get this particular role, web role, installed and configured. So that's a benefit friends. So you are calling two roles but on different set of servers. So now you can understand like what is the benefit of using roles. So you can better manage playbooks and the Ansible configuration. Okay, now let me show you on this server. Right now there is no etc result.conf. Sorry, it's there, but let me delete it. rm etc result.conf. Okay, I have deleted this file, and let me check whether ntp is there or not. ntpq-p, or yeah, you can check package, or you can run this query. So there is no ntp, or I can check rpm-qa grep ntp. ntp is not, ntp date is there, but ntp package itself is not there, so that's fine. And similar, let's check on web server. rm etc resolve.conf. I've deleted this file. rpm-e httpd ntp, if package is there. Okay, both packages are not there, so that's fine. So friends, if you see, these servers are not having any configuration. So what is going to happen with this playbook? The common configuration will be applied to both servers, which is DNS and NTP in our case. The Apache configuration will be applied only on one server, which is part of a web servers group. In our example, that's web server 1. It will be not getting applied on lab server 1 because lab server 1 is not part of web server group. So let's play with it, friends. Okay, so here Ansible playbook, your main playbook name, which is main.yaml. You can change the name to whatever you feel comfortable. You can say it your web stack configuration, webstack.yaml, whatever you want to call. So that's fine. Only extension keep it YML, so one can understand that's playbook. -I is inventory file. I'm saying host, otherwise it will pick default file, which is etc ansible host. Right now I'm using host file inside webstack directory. Okay, you can change this in ansible.cfg. We will discuss that in some other session. So I'm running this now. So okay, if you see, first step is completed, which is checking both servers are online, means clients are online. Next step, it is applying common configuration, which is common role. If you see, this is a role task for common role. First task, configure DNS client. It changed, it means it configured DNS client on both servers. Next task, again part of common role, install NTP file. It copied the NTP file. That's the reason it is showing changed. Next task was handler. As I said, once this copy finish, it will call handler. So it called handler for both servers, and handler did it work. If it fails, it will give you one error message like it is failed, and this playbook will terminate. But right now it's completed. Next task, install and configure web server. If you see, it only happened on web server 1. It not happened on lab server 1 because lab server 1 is not part of web server group. So it installed Apache, it installed this package, that's fine, it worked fine. Then it copied Apache configuration file, which is index.html from Ansible server to target client, and that worked well. Then it restarted the service. So friends, that's the whole purpose of this particular roles, and that worked fine. So let me show you. If you see, let me show you ls-l etc resolve.conf. You see, file is copied, it just got copied, and let me show you content. So it got this value from variables, right? And let me show you NTP. If you see, NTP is worked and NTP service started, and on this server Apache shouldn't be there. Okay, if you see, that's a Apache tool package, but Apache is not there. So that's a configuration which we did. And let's verify second server. Cat etc resolve.conf. Yeah, file is there. Just go write entry NTP. NTP is working fine, that's good. So on this one, HTTPD should be there because Ansible was configured to install HTTPD. rpm -q HTTPD. Okay, package is there, and let's verify whether configuration or not configuration, index.html got copied or not. Okay, if you see, file just got copied, so that got contents. Okay, so these are the contents. So let's test it, friends, whether that Apache. Okay, one thing, we can verify whether service is started or not, because handler was configured to start HTTPD service. Okay, service is running, that's good. So let's try to open one web page. Cool, this is the IP of server. So hello world, here I got encode hello world, so that code displayed, it mean Apache configuration is working. So friends, that's a way. And as I mentioned, I have used tags, so let me tell you what is the purpose of tags. I want to show you again how tags are useful. I'm doing cat roles. Let's do one common role, common tasks main.yml. So here for DNS configuration we got tag DNS, for NTP we got NTP, and this again tag contain NTP configuration stuff. So when I use tag NTP, it will do these two tasks which got NTP tag. If I use tag DNS, it will do only this particular task. Not only in this playbook, but whatever the playbooks inside this directory, it will do it on all playbooks. So let me show you how it works. Let's say on this one I delete NTP DNS configuration. Let's try with DNS. That's easy. rm etc resolve.conf. Okay, I have deleted this file. Let me show you again. There is no file. So now I'm going to run this playbook, and I'm using tags DNS. So what it is going to do, it will not do any other function, it will do only the tasks which got tag DNS. So in our example, only this particular tasks got DNS tag, and it will do it on all servers because that's part of common role. Or I can limit it, but I want to run it on common role. If you want to limit it, how to limit, you can put -l and server name lab server 1. In that way you can limit it, but right now I want to run it on all servers, so I have just used tags DNS. So what it will do, it will copy the file on the server where it is missing. If you see on web server 1, it's green, it changed nothing, so it means file was already there. We deleted file only from lab server 1, so that's the reason it is showing changed. So everything worked fine, nothing failed, failed 0 for both servers. That's good. And let's list the file again. If you see, file got copied. So that's a purpose and benefit of using tags. You can limit your actions if you got tag values. So thanks for watching this video, friends. If you have any query or question or even suggestion, just post a comment on my YouTube channel. If this video helped you, just click like button and share it with your other friends. I want everyone to learn. And if you have any suggestion, I personally need suggestions to improve or I can do better for the community. Thanks a lot, friends. Bye bye.